All right, let's dive into something really fascinating today, the future of architecture and design. Specifically, how AI is going to completely change the way we design the spaces we live and work in. You sent over that article from the Health Environments Research and Design Journal.
Yeah.
It really got us thinking.
It's definitely a hot topic. Like everyone's talking about AI and design these days.
Well, in this article, it starts with this really interesting point, talking about AI apps becoming, get this, romantic partners.
Yeah, I saw that.
Kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
But it just shows you how much AI is becoming part of our lives, even in ways we wouldn't expect. And design is definitely not immune to that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're way past the days of just basic computer-aided design now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We've got AI that can generate design concepts, create amazing visuals, even manage entire projects.
Incredible.
The article even talked about firms using AI to make sure their plans actually meet building codes.
Wait, hold on. AI is checking building codes now.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Apparently, it's really good at working within those kinds of really strict rules. There's even a guy, Mark Clayton, I think his name was, who created software just for that. Although,
What's the catch?
well, the article mentioned this Yale professor, Philip Bernstein, and he pointed out that things get a lot more complicated when you want AI to be, well, creative.
Yeah, because the article also talked about AI-designed floor plans and how they're a little out there.
A little. He actually said it's like walking into an M.C. Escher painting. Visually, it might be amazing, but good luck actually living in that space.
Yeah.
It turns out AI still has a hard time really getting how spaces and objects need to work together to actually function for us humans. Like, it can make some cool-looking stuff, sure, but when it comes to it actually being useful, let's just say it's a work in progress.
So are all the architects out there listening right now safe? They don't need to, start looking for new jobs just yet?
I don't think so. I mean, this article really seemed to emphasize that AI is more of a partner than a replacement.
A partner. Okay.
Even Professor Malik, the guy who wrote that book, Co-Intelligence, all about working with AI.
Right.
He thinks design students should be learning how to use AI, not trying to avoid it. And there's that great example in the article, Professor Lutua. He's actually having his design students use AI as a tool to make their own work even better.
So it's more about collaboration,
Yeah.
not competition.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out how to take the best of both worlds, the human and the artificial, and bringing them together. But what does that actually look like in practice? How do we actually collaborate with AI in a meaningful way, especially in design?
It's interesting, though, right? Because AI, it's not just changing how we design things, it's also changing how we think about the value of design itself.
Yeah.
Like that Professor Bernstein, the one from Yale, he has some pretty radical ideas about that in the article.
Oh, yeah, totally. He's talking about this whole new way of looking at design. It's not just about, subjective opinions anymore. Oh, I think this building is pretty, or this space feels nice.
He's saying we need to be able to actually prove the impact of design with data, hard numbers.
So instead of just saying this design is good because of gut feeling.
Yeah, you're saying this redesigned hospital wing led to a 15% reduction in patient falls. Boom, data. That's what gets people's attention.
It's like showing them the receipts. No more relying on just pretty pictures and being under budget.
Exactly. It's about showing the value, how design impacts their bottom line. And not just financially, by the way, operationally, too.
Makes sense. But how do you actually prove that a design change is the reason for those positive outcomes? It seems tricky to isolate that.
Yeah, for sure. And the article, it talks about a few ways to do that, like doing before and after studies, so you're comparing data from before the design change to after.
Oh, I see.
Like tracking how long it takes patients to recover in a redesigned hospital room compared to the old one.
Okay, yeah.
But there's this other idea they mentioned that I think is even more interesting. They call it unobtrusive data.
Unobtrusive data. Okay, what is that?
So basically, it's information that's already being collected anyway, like in the background. You don't have to do anything extra to get it.
Okay.
So think. Foot traffic patterns in a building, how often people use certain spaces, even things like temperature and lighting levels throughout the day.
And you're using that to see how design affects people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like being a detective. But for design, you're looking for those hidden patterns in how people actually interact with their environment.
So we can see if a design is actually making people more productive or...
Right. Healthier, happier.
Right.
All of that.
That's incredible. So you're saying we can use this data that's already out there to really understand how design affects us in these really deep ways.
Yeah. And that's where AI comes back in, actually, because imagine using AI to analyze all of that data, like mountains of unobtrusive data,
It's
right?
overwhelming for a human to go through all that.
Exactly. But AI can do it, no problem. And it can
Huh.
find those trends and connections that we might totally miss.
Wow. So AI is not just changing what we design, but it's giving us the tools to actually measure its impact and prove that it matters.
Exactly.
That's huge. But what does that mean for the architects and designers of the future? Do they all need to go back to school to become data scientists or something? So are we saying all architects need to become like data whizzes now to keep up?
I wouldn't say that no. It's not about turning every architect into a data scientist. But I do think they need to get comfortable with data, understand how to use it.
Yeah, make it work for them.
Exactly. Because it can really make their designs stronger, more effective. The article actually talks about how important collaboration is going to be in all of this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Imagine design teams with architects, but also data analysts, people from universities, research institutions, all working together. I think that's where the really exciting stuff is going to happen.
So it's like this whole multidisciplinary team,
Yeah.
not just the architect working on their own anymore.
Right. The article actually said it's going to be super important to have people who really understand research, like with backgrounds in data analysis, social sciences, stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because if you're trying to measure something really complex, like how design affects patient recovery, how well students learn in a space, you need people who know how to study that stuff.
It's amazing, though, when you really think about it. We could be designing buildings that are not just beautiful to look at, but actually good for us. Really good for us. Healthier, happier.
Absolutely. And honestly, we're just scratching the surface here. I mean, this article, it focused on how AI can help us measure the impact of design.
Right.
But what about using it to actually design things differently,
Yeah.
more sustainably, more equitably? The possibilities are huge.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about all the potential here. We've gone from AI checking building codes to AI being this like design partner,
Yeah.
helping us understand things we never could have before.
And it's all about combining that creative side of design with this whole other level of data and evidence.
Like a whole new way of thinking about design, not just based on gut feeling anymore, but on what we can actually prove works.
Exactly.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive, and I feel like we're just getting started.
Definitely. I mean, who knows what's next? There's always something new and exciting happening with AI.
I know, right? Seems like every day there's something new to discover. So to everyone listening, I'll leave you with this. We talked about how AI can help us measure the effects of design. But what if we could use it to predict those effects before we even build anything? Like how design choices might affect things like crime, or how people interact with each other, even our connection to nature. Something to think about, isn't it?